Hello, this is Sarah Brosh. Welcome back to my channel. So I just want to do a video. Something happened tonight. It was very upsetting, but I'm feeling better now. But I also want to tell everybody, please subscribe, please like, please share, please comment, and also please donate to my legal fund. I will have all of my fundraising links below. It would mean the absolute world to me, so that I can save due process and equal protection at Yale, and so that I can end woke KKK cancel culture and trial by Twitter without due process. And if you help me do that, it would mean the world to me. So right now I have a $33,000 legal bill that I'm trying to pay off, to pay my wonderful attorneys at Rendezvous Legal Group, who have done an amazing job for me. So the thing that I want to talk about that happened tonight is that Popehat on Twitter, he's an attorney, a First Amendment attorney, a defamation attorney, a 1A attorney, who has a very substantial following on Twitter. I can't remember, I think he has 250,000 Twitter followers or something like that. So anyway, from the very beginning of the witch hunt at Yale, the Living or Not Being While Black hate crime hoax at Yale, and then the subsequent global vilification and defamation campaign that almost got me, an innocent civil rights attorney, killed and destroyed my, my reputation, my livelihood, my lifelong human and civil rights career. So from the very beginning, you would have thought that Popehat would be someone who would have been one of my staunchest supporters. You would have thought this. Just like there were a lot of other persons who you would have believed would have been my staunchest allies, my staunchest supporters, defending me, fighting alongside me, people who claim to be, anti-woke, and who claim to be, die-hard First Amendment advocates, free speech advocates, academic freedom advocates. So you would have thought that Popehat on Twitter would have been one of those persons, but he wasn't. And I actually noticed, almost immediately, that he blocked me. And I was like, why would he be blocking me? And I noticed that of other people. And then, of course, as I've talked about before, so many people who claim to be in the anti-woke camp actually either attacked me during the witch hunt at Yale, or didn't help me, or they're still attacking me, or they've started attacking me recently. And a big part of this, of course, some of it is just that I think people thought I was a good, poor white trash sacrifice to the woke gods. Who could care if I die? I'm a nobody. And they just thought that they could advance, protect and advance their careers by throwing me under the bus, throwing me to the wolves, because who could care about my life? And so I do think that that was a big part of it. But I also think a lot of people who, profess to be in the anti-woke camp, I think a lot of them, especially the ones who are the rabid anti-Trumpers, they recognize that my story would help Trump. I was not a Trump supporter. Like I've said many times, I cried in 2016 when Trump won. I was a lifelong Democrat. I had never voted anything other than Democrat. And I considered myself a proud social justice warrior at Yale. My advisor was and is Jason Stanley, who obviously most people know him as is epitomizing the social justice warrior, right? Now, Jason, of course, has always stood by me and defended me, and I love him and he's amazing. But obviously, I'm not a Trump supporter if my Yale advisor is Jason Stanley, right? I was the social psychology PhD student of Tom Tyler, one of the co-directors of the Justice Collaboratory at Yale Law School. He's the father of procedural justice. him and the other co-director, Tracy Mears, were both on Barack Obama's 21st Century Policing Task Force. I worked with the Justice Collaboratory on the issues of implicit bias and police brutality. So obviously, I wasn't a Trump supporter, right? I considered myself a proud social justice warrior, but I did consider myself a hardcore civil libertarian, and I considered myself a reformer from within. But it was also because of this, because I had sort of, breached the inner sanctum of wokeness, of the woke, tyrants, that I was ousted, as a heretic, as an apostate, because I was a hardcore civil libertarian. And then, of course, class played a huge issue too. And this was, I think, a big part of why a lot of the people who were the anti-woke people, whom you would have believed would have been my staunchest defenders, actually chose to, attack me, or chose, not to help me, is because they saw me as a poor white trash interloper at Yale, and they were playing gatekeeper for Yale. And this includes Popehat at Twitter. He falls into this category very much. And I also think that, and like I said, people just recognized that my story was going to help Trump. And this was especially the case after the spring 2019 piece in the Post-Millennial came out. So people who had at least nominally supported me, who were rabid anti-Trumpers, in the anti-woke camp before spring 2019, when the Post-Millennial piece came out, almost everyone, threw me over, decided to either join the witch hunt at Yale or just stop supporting me, or actively start attacking me, because it became very, very clear after the Post-Millennial piece came out that my story was going to help Trump. And I think that Jonathan Haidt was definitely one of those people. He's a rabid anti-Trumper, and he was definitely one of those people who I think recognized that my story was going to help Trump. And that was one, I think that his reasons for deciding to turn his fall 2018 book tour for The Codling into a part of the witch hunt at Yale and try to drive me to suicide, I think that his reasons were multifold, but I think that that was part of it. And I think that that was probably part of it for Popehat too. I think that Popehat's reasons for, for basically trying to undermine my efforts to save my life and career, I think were also multifold, but I think part of it was, I think he saw me as a suitable poor white trash interloper, sacrificed to the woke gods at Yale. I think he was gatekeeping for Yale and for the Ivy League. And I think that, he was also probably recognized that my story was going to help Trump. And so he wanted me destroyed for that reason. And I think he was also, trying to protect, and this is a big one, and this is a big one for Popehat. He's trying to protect his friends who participated in the witch hunt at Yale. And I think that that's a big one for a lot of the people in the anti-woke camp, whom you would have assumed would have been my staunchest defenders. Popehat on Twitter, I believe very strongly, I think it's very clear from his tweets, attacked me tonight on Twitter. And so I had been, Popehat really joined the witch hunt, like really explicitly joined the witch hunt publicly. Like, I'm sure he was involved in smear campaigns against me behind the scenes beforehand, but he only really joined the witch hunt publicly after, I want to say it was in August 2021 in particular, when I started, that is when August 2021, August 2021 was when Kathy Young wrote that ridiculous piece for Arc Digital, where, it was the catastrophe broke loose in Afghanistan because of the ending the military presence in Afghanistan by Joseph Biden, which was a complete, clusterfuck. And that was right when that happened, and everyone was up in arms, and I was too, and I was trying to get people to donate to Afghanistan Lead in Paris, of this wonderful women's rights organization that I worked with when I worked with Me Soumise in Paris back in the day. And so right at this time, Kathy Young wrote a ridiculous piece for Art Digital that was all about me, telling disgusting lies about me, smearing me as a violent, delusional, dangerous psycho, to deflect from what she had done to me. And I definitely exposed her for it. And it was right after this that Popehat really sort of explicitly joined the witch hunt at Yale to try to drive me to suicide, destroy my lifelong human and civil rights career, destroy what remains of my life. And I am still, right now, this day, I am struggling to survive. I am living in poverty. I'm struggling to survive. I'm struggling to stay off the streets. And I have a $33,000 legal bill I'm trying to pay off. And so I was tweeting. Recently I've been much attacked. And so I tweeted a blog post I had done several months ago about this really just evil, pure evil incarnate Twitter thread, which was a woke KKK cancel culture mob, which included Kathy Young and which included Popehat, and it's disgusting. And it's from right after, I think it's from August 2021, and I made a blog post about it in February 2022, and I was tweeting about it recently because I was being much attacked by this same cohort. And so the Twitter thread is absolutely disgusting. It's reprehensible, it's vile, it's ludicrous. I'm being grossly defamed in this Twitter thread that includes Kathy Young and Popehat as a dangerous, violent, delusional psycho per usual. And it's really shocking. It's shocking to read. So I was tweeting this recently and tweeting about, Popehat and how he doesn't care about my mental health. He is not concerned about my mental health. If he was concerned about my mental health, then he wouldn't keep trying to drive me to suicide and destroy what remains of my life, and make me unemployable and destitute by joining woke KKK cancel culture mob after woke KKK cancel culture mob. And the other thing I was tweeting about Popehat was just to say, he's a First Amendment attorney. He's a defamation attorney. And the other thing I wanted to say is that the big reason why he explicitly joined this particular, woke KKK cancel culture mob back in August of 2021 is because he was trying to protect his friend, Josie Duffy Rice. Now, Josie Duffy Rice is the former president of the Appeal, who tried repeatedly to mob me to suicide on Twitter via trial by Twitter and cancel culture, who I believe the Appeal, synonymous with Sean King, played a major role in the Living or Not Being While Black hate crime hoax. Josie Duffy Rice, the first thing that new ACLU president Deborah Archer, who's also an NYU law prof, thought she needed to do as the brand new ACLU president in the spring of 2021 was team up with then the Appeal president, Josie Duffy Rice, to try to drive me to suicide. The Appeal, Josie Duffy Rice tried to mob me to suicide on May 25th, 2020, the day that George Floyd was killed, which was also the day of the Central Park Living While Black race hoax with Amy Cooper and Christian Cooper. And so, and that mobbing Patricia Arquette was involved, and then I was attacked by Rosanna Arquette thereafter for exposing Patricia Arquette for the woke KKK monster that she is. So I believe I have strong reason to believe that the reason why Popehat has been explicitly attacking me is to protect Josie Duffy Rice, who is a friend of his. And of course, on this thread that presumably is about me, seems self-evidently to be about me, tonight that Popehat tweeted where he defames me as a dangerous, delusional, violent psycho to deflect from his being part of the witch hunt at Yale that almost got me killed. Josie Duffy Rice, responds to it and says, "Ha ha ha, I'll bet I know who you're talking about, sigh." And this Twitter thread, he also what he says in it is that it's not, my fault that, someone's gonna die because of me. So he basically says someone's gonna die because of me. He says I'm dangerous, I'm violent, I'm gonna get someone killed apparently, I'm gonna kill someone apparently, which I just want to make super, super clear. That's one of the reasons why I'm making this video tonight, is to say I wouldn't hurt a fly. I just want to go on the record right now and say I'm the least dangerous, least violent, least threatening person ever. I wouldn't hurt a fly. I'm a lifelong human and civil rights attorney. I would never be physically violent with anyone. And also, I'm a shut-in. I'm a trauma survivor. I'm severely traumatized by what's been happening to me. I'm severely traumatized by the witch hunt at Yale and the subsequent vilification campaign against me. It's hard for me to get out of bed in the morning, basically. I'm basically a shut-in. I work from home, and I'm basically a shut-in. And I hardly ever even leave my apartment. And it's just, the idea of being physically violent towards anyone is antithetical to everything that I am. Just like the idea that I would ever be racist is also antithetical to everything that I am. Basically, I'm exactly who I say I am and who I've always said that I am and I always have been. I'm literally a lifelong human and civil rights attorney who has basically never done anything bad in her entire life. Besides that, I've experienced severe trauma in my life, and you would think that these people would have like a sliver of empathy. The people who have participated in the witch hunt at Yale, you would think that they would have a sliver of empathy for me. They can have endless empathy for, convicted murderers in prison, but no empathy for me, even though I did absolutely nothing wrong. And the Living or Napping While Black hate crime hoax at Yale was an utter non-event and non-crime. It was the least newsworthy thing that happened on May 8th, 2018. I want to make that clear. But so Popehat is saying the most ridiculous things in this thread. He's saying that I'm making money hand over fist, or that the people who are handling me and enabling me are making money hand over fist. So first of all, I don't know who all these supporters are that he thinks I have, and I love my supporters. I love every single one of my supporters. You saved my life time and again, but I don't have that many supporters. So I don't know who Popehat thinks he's talking about, all these supporters, all these enablers that I have, because we all know I don't have that many supporters, even though I love you all dearly and you keep saving my life and I love you. Also, who's making money hand over fist because I'm tweeting the truth about what was done to me during the witch hunt at Yale? Who are these people? I really want to know, because I'd really love to ask them to give me some of that money. Who are these people who are making money hand over fist? Because I'm not making any money. I'm not making any money, from tweeting the truth about what was done to me during the witch hunt at Yale. And I also want to say that it is pure evil and bigotry And this is the fallback position of everyone who participated in the witch hunt at Yale. It is pure evil and bigotry to fall back to defaming me as a dangerous, violent, delusional psycho. Because you don't want to face accountability, because you would rather watch an innocent die than face accountability for your participation in the witch hunt at Yale. You would rather watch an innocent die than apologize for your gross error in moral judgment. Okay? And so, yeah, and it's really was evil what Popehat did tonight. Presumably this thread was about me. I think it's clear that this thread is about me, because he was saying that like his followers were actually like, his followers in the replies to his thread, they couldn't figure out who he was talking about, because I've never threatened anyone and I never would threaten anyone. I'm so careful not to violate Twitter's terms of service now. Twitter would love to be able to get rid of me. If I violated any of their terms of service in the slightest, they would permanently ban me instantly. And I'm a lifelong human rights attorney, human and civil rights attorney. I would never threaten anyone. I would never threaten anyone. I would never hurt anyone. I would never threaten anyone. Ever. Ever. It's antithetical to everything that I am. And so Popehat just basically straight up was lying through his teeth. And what he did was so evil because his followers were really concerned. They were really concerned about him. They thought he was in danger. They thought he and his family are in danger because of what he said. So, I mean, I hope to God that he was talking about someone else and not talking about me, but I'm pretty confident that he was talking about me. It seems clear from his subsequent tweets that he was talking about me. And yeah, it's really just, I try so hard to hang on to some semblance of faith, some tiny iota notion of faith in humanity. But I really, truly just think people are evil now. It's evil to behave this way to another human being when you know you're lying about someone, when you know they're innocent. And I have a law license, and so this is also an attack on my law license. My law license is keeping me alive, and if I lose it, I won't stay alive. And this is another, there's constant attacks against my law license because the people who participated in the witch hunt at Yale want me dead. They want me dead because I'm the still living, breathing proof that they are woke KKK monsters, frauds, bigots, charlatans. And the one other thing I want to say, and then I'm going to wrap it up because I don't want this video to get too long. The one other thing I'm going to say is that, you know, Popehat is a First Amendment attorney, and I want to make this really clear. This is why everyone is so happy that Elon Musk is buying Twitter, because no one thinks that Elon Musk is going to stop the woke KKK monsters from trying to drive private citizen nobodies to suicide via woke KKK cancel culture and trial by Twitter for black trauma, moral outrage, and industry money. No one thinks that this is going to stop. But what is happening now, because Elon Musk is buying Twitter, is that I don't have to fear being permanently banned by Twitter to silence me if I speak the truth, real truth to power about what was actually done to me during the witch hunt at Yale. And that's all I'm doing. All I'm doing is telling the simple truth about what was done to me during the witch hunt at Yale. And so because, and I think this is primarily because he's trying to protect his friends who participated in the witch hunt at Yale, including Josie Duffy Rice. Popehat is a First Amendment attorney who has changed his tune about cancel culture and free speech and defamation. And he now seems to believe that it's free speech to try to drive private citizen nobodies to suicide via cancel culture and trial by Twitter without due process. That's free speech. That's free speech. But he seems to think that it's defamation when those private nobodies stand up for themselves and speak real truth to power and defend themselves with the truth. And so what I want to say is that Popehat is absolutely wrong. And if free speech is good for the goose, then free speech is good for the gander. And if it's free speech for people, for Twitter blue checkmark public figures to try to drive innocent private citizen nobodies to suicide for money via trial by Twitter and cancel culture, then it's free speech for those private nobodies to defend themselves with the truth and to talk back and to fight for justice. And that's what I'm doing. I'm telling the simple truth about what was done to me by Twitter blue checkmark public figures with enormous status and power. And I'm telling the simple truth about what was done to me. And I'm not just doing it to save my life and career. In fact, I just sort of assume at this point that my life and career have been utterly decimated irrevocably. And there's no me saving my life and career at this point. I'm doing it to stop the Twitter blue checkmark public figures from engaging in cancel culture and trial by Twitter. I'm doing it to save other lives. I'm doing it to save other cancel culture victims. And I'm also fighting for justice and by telling the simple truth and trying to get the simple truth out about the witch hunt at Yale. For the cancel culture victims who have for the most part, for the cancel culture victims who have already committed suicide. So I just wanted to make this video. I'm gonna stop because I don't want it to get too long. But I just want people to know that anyone who says that I'm a violent, dangerous, delusional psycho, and it's such bigotry. There's stigmatizing mental illness. We've tried to make such strides to destigmatize mental illness in recent years, and it just like shows their gross hypocrisy. So you care so much about racism, but you just wantonly, throw around the most grotesque bigotry when it comes to, stigmatizing persons with mental illness and mental health disabilities. And it's disgusting. But I really just wanted to make those points. I wanted to make the point about free speech, that now, people don't like it when their cancel culture victims talk back. And that's basically what's happening here. People don't like it when their cancel culture victims talk back. And if it's free speech to try to drive innocent private citizen nobodies to suicide, it's free speech for those private nobodies to talk back and to defend themselves with the truth. The only thing I'm doing is telling the simple, honest to God truth about what was done to me during the witch hunt at Yale. That's all I'm doing. And I'm trying to end woke KKK cancel culture and trial by Twitter. I'm trying to end it, and I'm trying to save lives and stop these woke KKK monsters from getting anyone else killed. All right, I'll stop there. I love you all so much, and I will have all of my fundraising links below, and please donate and to my legal fund, and please help me to end woke KKK cancel culture and trial by Twitter. I love you all so much. Have a great night. Okay.